welcome to a brand new episode of Unicorn Story, where we will take you through the journey of some of India's most prominent startup founders, entrepreneurs and change makers. We're right outside the headquarters of Zerodha in Bengaluru. Let's go in and meet the founder and CEO, Nithin Kamath.
Located in the heart of South Bengaluru in a quiet residential lane, Zerodha is one of India's most valuable and unusual startups. Unusual because it hasn't raised a penny in external funding. It is profitable, and the founders, brothers Nithin Kamath and Nikhil Kamath, still own a significant percentage in the company, making them billionaires. Zerodha symbolically was founded on Independence Day, the 15th of August 2010, with the goal of breaking barriers that traders and investors face in terms of cost, support and technology. It disrupted the sector by introducing zero brokerage and is today India's largest stockbroker with over 9 million clients, accounting for over 15% of all Indian retail trade. It also runs Rain Matter, a fintech fund and incubator that has invested in many startups. Why the name Zerodha, you ask? It's a combination of zero and rodha, the Sanskrit word for barrier. We're here to meet its 42-year-old founder, Nithin Kamath, who started trading at the age of 17. Born in Shimoga, his father was a bank employee and his mother was a music teacher. He is today one of India's richest self-made young billionaire.
Welcome to the first episode of Unicorn Story. We're in conversation with Nithin Kamath. Nithin, thank you very much. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you in person after 2 or 3 years. So it's so good to finally meet you. Nithin, what struck me about your office is, it is not in some Koramangala or HSR or Bellandur, but right bang in the middle of JP Nagar in a quiet residential area. Right. So does that also kind of keep you away from the madding crowd, the FOMO, the VC crowd and all that? Does that help in a way?
I mean, we didn't really think through so much. I've been brought up, not really born, but most of my time was spent in South Bangalore, so Jayanagar, JP Nagar. So for me, anything north of South Bangalore doesn't seem like Bangalore. So it's and that's how ended up building businesses around here as well. So our first office was on Banagatta Road, which is just like 100 meters from here. And so as we grew, we found places around, and we've been generally very frugal about running our business. So wherever we could find the lowest cost real estate, we found that spot. And JP Nagar is actually, in terms of real estate cost, is probably lower than the rest of the town.
So cost was an important factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that also was in consideration.
Is it hard making people come to JP Nagar compared to a happening place like Koramangala?
You don't want people to come to JP Nagar. I mean, that's one of the reasons. So when one of these folks, when they think about coming to our office, like the bankers and all of that, so they think twice, because we are probably the farthest away from airport in Bangalore. So
that's the trick. That's how you keep people away.
But in our online business, jokes apart, you don't really need to meet anyone.
Yeah.
And because we grew the business from 4 or 5 people, most people who joined us, they kind of are also were put up somewhere around the offices. And now we have permanent work from home as a company. Yeah. So a few of us come on Fridays and maybe another day a week now. We're planning from next week, but most of the team, out of the 1,100 people, almost I think 900, 950 will remain work from home permanently. So,
wow.
So it's been quite an interesting experiment of sorts.
Right. Nithin, Zerodha is an unusual company startup in many ways. You took a call early on. You've never raised a penny in external funding. You're completely bootstrapped, profitable again, which is an outlier. So, what kind of influenced you to build differently? I mean, it's India's largest brokerage firm today, but also built very differently, not with VC funding and any kind of funding. So, what what influenced your personal philosophy that way?
No, I mean, see, the thing is, when we started the business, funding wasn't very easily available because this was back in the day when VC business wasn't hot, and broking especially wasn't hot at all.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have any pedigree background or really a great business plan. We were really thinking of building Zerodha for a very niche, very active trading community. So we couldn't really go out and raise money when we started. But then by the time we had started doing okay, which was, we were generating some revenues and profits. At that time, when we met VCs, we kind of realized that in the way we are thinking of growing this business, we don't really need capital. And I think the experience from my previous avatar was that I used to manage money for people.
Yeah.
And I really hated the obligation money brought on the table. And if you were to ask me why we haven't raised money, I think one of those reasons has been also that I don't want to take on an obligation, and that's why the company has been zero debt, no external funding, and we've gotten like in the last 2-3 years.
You really like the word zero, I think.
Right, no.
Yeah, zero debt, zero funding.
No, but then today we
Zero
get
loss.
we get a lot of credit for this, but I don't know why. Right? I don't know why we get so much credit, because ideally speaking, there should be more businesses who are thinking like us. I mean, you should raise money if it helps you grow fast, or it some way it helps you do something better. Right? But raising money just because someone's giving is just an obligation that you're taking on, which can affect the way you want to run the business as well, right?
Yeah. How did the entrepreneurship kida kind of bite you? Because your dad, I think, was a bank employee. He was at Canara Bank. Your mom is a music teacher.
Right.
So it's not like you come from a family that's full of entrepreneurs or something like that. So how did the entrepreneurship bug bite you?
I mean, it's accidental again. I mean, it's just at the right time, right place. There was an opportunity that opened up. So in the sense, I blew up my account. I was working in a call center. I met this guy in the gym who said, will you manage my money? And I quit and I started portfolio management. When the customers grew, then I realized that to manage these customers, if I became a sub-broker, it'll be easy, right? So I went and became a sub-broker of a brokerage firm. Again, it's just happenstance.
Serendipity.
Yeah, and then in 2000, as a sub-broker, I mean, and generally I've been very actively interacting with other people who trade the markets. And in 2007-8, we realized that NSE launched this free trading platform. It's called NSE Now. And then that's when we thought, there is an opportunity now to probably become a broker, because until Kailash joined, there was no tech. So now that tech came for free, we're like, can you use that, leverage that when it's just coming for free, and then can you disrupt on pricing?
But that risk appetite, Nithin, it doesn't come naturally to everyone. I mean, some people are very scared of taking that risk. So again, did you always have a risk appetite, this, give it a shot and let's see what happens, that kind of mindset? Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those genetic things, So yeah, so I've always been like that, So I've attempted multiple businesses, like I've done multi-level marketing. I remember you used to teach guitar. And I've taught guitar at some point. I mean, I didn't even know how to play good guitar, but I used to teach. So I mean, that takes some confidence. Yeah. So it's I think I've whenever there's been an opportunity, but like I keep telling, if you don't have tech skills in life, you have to have some other kind of skills, and selling well and ability to bet and all of that is very important. What were you like as a student? Like, were you someone who was very good in maths or very good in? Were you academically inclined?
No,
what
not at all.
like?
I mean, I think from my third standard, I think my school teachers have called my parents after every exam and said, there's something wrong with your son. So yeah, no, I don't think I was ever academically. I haven't done anything special in my life. So.
Okay. Nithin, so far in the last 10 years, you've built up Zerodha as India's largest brokerage firm. You've entered mutual funds, equity investing. You also have Rain Matter Foundation, which is where you invest in fintechs. What's the next, big bet for you going to be?
So there isn't one large bet as of now. I mean, see, the thing is, I think we still have, have to do a lot more as a business. I mean, while we have done okay as a business, we haven't still solved for the problem that we are trying to solve for when we started, which is to help people do better with their money, right? So our customers still come and do a lot of mistakes, lose money to the markets, etc. So and we need to figure ways to help them do better, right? A very tough problem to solve, but and that's really on top of our list of things to do right now, which is how do you help people take better decisions with money in this way.
Zerodha became the largest stockbroker in India in January 2019, a feat made possible not just with zero brokerage, but also its technology chops. Apart from Nithin Kamath, who is CEO, and Nikhil Kamath, who is its Chief Investment Officer, a person who is core to Zerodha is Dr. Kailash, Nadh, its Chief Technology Officer. He helped build and scale a complex financial and stockbroking stack from the ground up. The Kamaths and Dr. Nadh share an easy chemistry, and we bring you the three of them together for the first time on television. Meet Zerodhas 18.
Tell us what a typical day at Zerodha looks like. What time do you guys come in? Is it before market hours? Does it start fairly early on a trading day? Nikhil, what time do you come in?
We don't come into the office. I work from home most of the time, and my day starts maybe by 8, a little before the market opens, and it goes on till the market shuts, and then I have meetings and stuff.
Nithin?
Yeah. So I mean, so we are work from home right now. So for the last 2 years, we come to the office on Friday. My day, typically starts around 8:30. So Nikhil is the one who trades the markets. So he manages the money. So he's more clued in on the markets. I don't think me and Kailash really bother about seeing what's happening.
Which stock is going up, down?
Yeah. So we don't really care about that. I think. Generally there are some things happening every morning. So it's just, I think my job. I think I'm the most redundant of the three. So
what do you typically look at? Is it strategy, or you talk to the team?
We have there's this team. We call it the Z team.
The Z team. Okay.
So we have 20 people on that, and essentially folks are looking at different aspects of the business, right? From the risk management to. I mean, while we have different teams for that, I mean, this is almost like a bridge that connects me to everyone else. So they are essentially overlooking all of this, and I'm very active on that group. I spend most of my time with those 20 folks.
Right. Kailash, one thing that people keep talking about is Zerodha's tech stack. So tell me what you did differently, and how has that really helped Zerodha hold an edge over rivals?
I would say we did status quo completely, and we started from scratch, built technology the way it's supposed to be built, not bound by arbitrary business pressures or sales pressures. So we built technology slowly, carefully, and over a long period of time. And there's this whole fail fast thing, build fast, fail fast. That's not our philosophy. We build slowly and carefully, extremely overly cautiously. And that's how we built all these pieces together. And the way we've ended up building them over almost a decade is that our entire tech stack infrastructure, it's really lean. As a percentage of the expenses, the tech expenses are really abysmally low. Now that's not an indicator of quality. More expenses doesn't mean better quality software. So it's been the opposite for us, and we manage all of this with a really small tech team of 33
How many people in your tech team?
Just the 33 of us.
Okay.
Over 9+ years. And it's very unconventional how we've ended up like this, but that's the way we built tech.
And the last year the biggest theme was war for tech talent, and how the market's so hot. There were companies promising BMW bikes and everything. So I read somewhere that only 3 people have quit your tech team in 10 years.
2 people, yeah.
What do you do differently?
As I said, there's no formula or framework. We've kept it really simple and grounded and realistic. So one of the things about hiring is that, aspirants are sold a vision saying we're going to change the lives of billions of people, we're going to be a multi-billion-dollar company. We've never done that.
Right.
So only 2 people have left, and that too for personal reasons, not really for career reasons.
That's interesting. What's the dynamic between the three of you? Who's the bull? Who's the bear? Who's the calm one? Who gets mad?
No, I mean, I think one of those. I mean,
Kailash is the bull.
Yeah, because he can.
And the
no,
bear.
no, I think he's not the. He's a bully. I mean, if it's that can be. I mean, he's not the
Kailash,
bull.
would you like to comment on that? You're the bully.
I'm not a bully. I call a spade, and that is construed as bullying.
Basically, he's quite judgmental. So he judges everything that people around him are doing.
I do, factually, very factually. When I see, I don't know, hypocrisy, I call out hypocrisy. And when we tend to sway away from our philosophy somewhere, I call that out. So that's not really bullying, but
No, in the office, in my personal life, we have a K filter. Like, like before the decision's made, it's like, what'll K think about it?
So it goes with the Kailash filter.
No, but it's definitely, personally for me, I think he's like my life guru, So a lot of people ask me, I've changed so much because of hanging around him so much, But otherwise, I think I would have.
What kind of changes? Give us like a couple of examples.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the outlook to life.
Are you
about
also
material,
a bully? Do you have like a high threshold for perfection?
I mean, I think I am opposite in that sense. I never express my feelings very easily. So not in the bully sense, but I'm saying just in terms of outlook towards money and outlook towards success, or even building. I mean, I think this whole, at one point of time before Kailash, I also thought that if you throw people at problems, people can solve for problems. I mean, people and I mean, I kind of realized hanging around him that it doesn't work like that. And if you at Zerodha before, outside the tech team as well, in Feb 2020 we were at 2 million customer, we were at 1,100 people. At 9 million customer, we were at 1,100 people, right? So we have become extremely picky about hiring people. Even every process, we're like, let's not just hire for the sake of hiring.
Yeah.
And I think both of what we've done right as a business, even on the non-tech side, is that you've always under-promised and tried to over-deliver. When you're hiring people. So even the non-tech side, we've hardly had any attrition. And it's not because we pay everyone more than what they can get outside. It's actually for a long period of time we were actually probably paying lesser than what they could have got outside. Of course, today there is stock options, there's a lot of value out there. But then this stock option was never promised to anyone, right? As in it was all
ESOP, because ESOP is like a very big
because
hiring
that's how
tool that
people,
startups use.
like people induce greed to hire people, right? And I think it's just a wrong way to get people into your business, right? Because people who come for greed, they will leave away for greed, right? And so we've even our stock options, actually there are more RSUs than stock option. There is no strike price. It's a zero strike. So no one, it's not, that stock option is not based on a certain valuation at which we will go raise money outside, right? Because that's really how stock option value is, right? Outside. So for us, it's actually an RSU. Instead of giving some cash bonus at the end of every year, we are giving away stock options at zero cost, right? So it's. I mean, like I said, that's how we've been thinking about all of this.
Right. Nikhil, the last year was like a dream run for the markets, right? I think Sensex Nifty delivered over 24%. And this year, the first quarter at least has been pretty lackluster. So what do you make of the markets this year? Is it going to have a dream run, or are there too much uncertainty? Because in a sense, Zerodha's fortunes are also tied to the stock markets. So how will that impact you?
I'm perpetually bearish.
Okay. Now I know who's the bull, who's the bully, bull and bear.
I think I've been bearish for like many years. Like I was bearish through the pandemic, before the pandemic, post it. I am today, and I think I will continue to remain bearish. Markets are up 15-16% last financial year. I don't think that is spectacular relative to the kind of years we have seen 2 years ago, for example. I have a feeling personally, in my own view, that the markets will either be range bound or they might go down in the near future. And I'm kind of basing my investment strategy around that.
Will that affect Zerodha in terms of the number of people it's able to pull in? Because there was this huge excitement last year. You had the Robinhood investors coming in. Will that be impacted, you think?
Yeah, I'm guessing possibly. I think we're closely correlated to how well the markets do. And
Is that why, Nithin, you're always tempering expectations that, we will not always do well? You're like
I mean,
always,
yeah.
issuing a warning that, if the markets fall, we will also
No,
fall.
I don't think I'm also bull. I mean, I think all of us are really very pessimistic about the world. I think you think.
Yeah.
I think Kay's got, his
no,
pessimism
Kay is
is.
pessimistic about everything. I am pessimistic about the markets. And Nithin is actually an optimist.
Yeah,
I think he's the most optimistic.
Amongst the three of us, I'm definitely the most optimist. But I still think I don't understand when people just disregard all issues and somehow continuously keep selling that they're going to grow faster. I mean, I don't get it. And I mean, it's a given. Like for example, the first 3 months, we're already seeing a 30% dip in our new account opening because the markets are flat.
Okay.
And this is something we were talking internally as well, is that if it remains like this, we'll probably see another 20-30% from here in terms of.
But you're okay with that because.
No, that's because there is no force to grow the business at a person.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you don't have targets or investors pushing you.
But at this time, if some investor was forcing us to continue growing at the same pace at which we were growing last year, we would have to do some stupidity to do it, right? Because it's impossible, when markets are flat and going down, why will new users come to the markets? You can't really throw money at a problem that's solving. I mean, you'll have to do some, you'll have to missell somewhere to actually, in an environment like this, somehow to be able to grow at the pace, which we were growing last year, because there was greed, so people are automatically coming on their own. So I don't think there's no tempering down expectation for outsiders. I mean, I'm always constantly tempering down expectation within the company, right? As in, and I've been very, we've been talking about it internally, saying, I don't think, the revenues and profits we hit in this year, this financial year, I don't think we're going to hit that or cross that in the next 2 years. It's very unlikely, because last 1-2 years have been spectacular, and especially the last year.
Yeah.
Because there was markets were volatile, new users were coming, everything that a stockbroker needs, right? And it's very unlikely.
The party is kind of coming to an end.
I mean, I said that in April 2020 as well. So, but if you're tempered down your expectation, then any upside seems like a bonus, and then you are anyways prepared for the downside. So,
right. But Nithin, one thing that people keep asking is, will Zerodha ever do an IPO? I mean, new age IPOs in the last 6 months haven't fared too well. But is that something that you will consider?
It is borderline hypocrisy if we as a stockbroker who is telling everyone else to create wealth for people, somehow we ourselves don't do that, right? But the problem for the business is that there is zero predictability. We are one circular away from our revenues dropping 50%, sorry. Right? So, I mean, like tomorrow morning there could be one circular from SEBI, which, and day after our revenues are down 40-50%. Or, like I said, we are so dependent on the stock markets that we don't know how much we'll grow this year. Right? There is, for you to be able to go raise someone else's money, take on that obligation, you need to be able to predict something for the future, right? And if you have zero sense of it, I mean, why even take that obligation? Because then we are introducing risk to people who shouldn't be taking risk, right? And which is something, which I keep telling, some of the startup founders, right? Because a lot of these guys look at stock markets as their end game, right? It really isn't, right? Because when you get a retail investor who can't take risk on your cap table is when you should make sure, you don't lose money for that person, right? Because it's bad karma and it's going to come back in some form. Right, and because every VC and PE is always wiring the founder to say, what, IPO is endgame, IPO is endgame. So founders are wired to think that IPO is an endgame. It isn't. I mean, IPO is really the beginning of the business, because now on your cap table are millions of people who can't afford to take risks. So your job is to take care of those guys, right? And because VCs and PEs can take risk, I mean, these are people.
So not on the horizon.
Unless we somehow find a more predictable revenue stream for us as a business.
What about crypto? You haven't been a big fan of it, but all this WAGMI, people keep going around now. And actually the crypto tax is going to come into effect this financial year, which is huge, like 30% plus TDS. Will Zerodha offer
No, I mean until SEBI comes and allows us to do it, we definitely won't. I mean, we've stayed away from every investing opportunity in crypto personally as well. As Rainmatter, I mean, we've had an opportunity to get stakes in all these crypto exchanges, but we've stayed away saying, unless it's regulatory grey, in our primary business we're already quite, large, and and we don't want to be in a position where we are supporting even indirectly an asset class which which is great. So. So no, I mean, of course, we'll do nothing. I mean, what does crypto itself mean? I mean, I don't understand. I know Kay might have some views on it.
Philosophically, I don't get it. Technically, I understand. Philosophically, I don't understand.
Nikhil, same view?
I don't have crypto, I've never bought crypto, but if transacting on the blockchain become very cheap in terms of the energy or the effort required.
The cost.
Yeah. If the Western governments continue to print money in the manner that they are, I think there will be a need for an alternative in the world at some point.
Nithin, you also often make it to lists of the richest self-made billionaires in India, and you're 42 and Nikhil's 35, and both of you are self-made billionaires worth billions of dollars. But what does money mean to you? What does wealth mean to you? What goes through your mind when you see yourself on rich lists?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really uncomfortable, being on those lists, because the way they ascribe your wealth is based on a certain notional valuation of the business, right? And like, you don't really know if it's worth or not, right? As in, and then people think of you of a certain way just because of that paper valuation. Like we talk about it internally as well. Our valuation is really the money in the bank. Right? I mean, that really is your true value, because everything else can really evaporate in no time at all, right? And so it bothers, to be on those lists, because that's not something that we ever, like wished to be. Like being on a rich list is of no use. So
you're also among the highest paid founders in India.
Yeah, that's because there is no usually the way to take some money off the table is you either sell your stock or you take out our salaries, right? As in, and because we are not selling our stock, if we have to take some money out, we have to take it out as salaries, and but even that money that we take out, really today, incrementally our lifestyles haven't changed over the last 2-3 years, because
so you're not into collecting cars, collecting paintings, or collecting art.
Really, right?
Not really.
I mean, at least I thought these things will excite me when I make a lot of money. I mean, that's how I started.
Yeah.
The whole journey of being a trader. I had a certain rupee goal and a certain bunch of cars and watches. It's not like I didn't do it. I mean, I did go buy cars, I did go buy watches, but I think over the last 3-4 years, I kind of like have hit that point where I know that incrementally buying something with money is not going to really excite me.
What excites you then? How do you spend your wealth or
Yeah,
money?
I mean, so the thing is, today, I mean, we've set up the foundation, which is Rain Matter Fund. Yeah. And really, that's a brainchild of Kailash, I mean, in the sense for not just a foundation, just nudging us to think about it, just being more conscious about our carbon footprint. Like I was telling, we have this K filter. If I'm taking a flight, if I'm buying anything, I'm usually thinking, what's my carbon footprint, right? Because really, like someone, we just met someone recently who said that there's really 7 years, right? By when if the planet Earth doesn't go to net zero carbon emissions, there's not going to be any planet left, right? So it's really, for my son or your sons, I mean, what's the point of all this wealth if the planet's not going to be around? And I think what we really I get excited on is one is Rain Matter FinTech and one is Rain Matter Climate. FinTech because it's just to be, it feels very exciting to be able to enable so many businesses, right? So today, Rain Matter FinTech portfolio has around 15-20 businesses. A lot of them wouldn't even exist if not for us, not for our capital, because of the strategic, whatever value we brought to those businesses. And now with the foundation, we have decided that all the whatever wealth created from the business, we're going to give it back to the society.
So but most of your wealth you will kind of give to the.
I mean, that's a plan. And it's not easy,
giving away. Yeah.
It's not a decision to give away, but the thing is to give away knowing that what you're giving away can result in something, right?
Yeah.
Because when you build a business, the result is really your product and
it's
customers.
It's more tangible, but there the result is
absolutely,
intangible.
Right? Yeah. And then it's a long process. You can't be supporting a non-profit solving for a large problem and say, I want to see results in 2 years or 3 years. I want a project report at the end of the year where you tell me.
Or sometimes there could not be any result at all.
Most of the cases, and I think in giving back, I think the chances of success are really, really low. So right now we have 2 causes that we're supporting. One is creation of livelihoods, because we think this whole efficiency of technology, there'll be more job losses around, and job losses will probably happen at the lowest skill levels. So one is there, and two is around climate change. I mean, whoever is doing whatever with regards to getting us to net zero carbon, we are trying to make that happen.
Nithin, you've also said in the past that it's not enough to make money. You have to make money work for you.
Right.
So, for our viewers, if you have to tell them how to make money work for them, any pointers that you would like to give?
Yeah, I mean, today I don't really have to think about money working for me, but for most of my life, So like, I wouldn't like even when Zerodha started, right? One of the things I was extremely particular about is that no money lies idle in a current account. Just because a current account gives no interest.
No interest,
right?
yeah.
So at the end of the day, you need to sweep in whatever money is in the current account into a fixed deposit, right? Like or an overnight fixed deposit or whatever, because it doesn't matter how much money it is. It's just a right habit. Just say that you shouldn't let your money sit idle when you know that there is an easy way to generate some income out of it. And also the other thing which I keep talking about is to our team internally is about this whole spending habit, right? I mean, there's this shielding yourself from wanting to buy stuff which you don't really need, right? And by borrowing money, right? So it's a I mean, it's just there are so many triggers today that push people to do it,
Yeah.
right? But
And also different types of products, right? I mean, you get a prompt to pay later and buy now, pay later. So, I mean, it's almost like you're being induced to have debt in some form.
And it's going to only increase, as technology penetrates more into our ecosystem, people will find the right nudge to get you to borrow, right? It's not going to reduce, it's going to increase. I think the onus should be on people to say, be very wary about credit, really, And I think one of the things that I did was I didn't have a credit card. I had a credit card in 2001. I blew up. It took me 3-4 years to pay it back. And from 2005 till I think 2016, I never used a credit card until I started traveling abroad, and then I was forced to get one. So so when I say money work for you, it's not just about your money. It's not taking money from someone is also a way to get money work for you.
Nithin, you have a 6-year-old son, and he's the son of a billionaire, unlike you who were born to a middle-class family. So are you kind of wary about passing on the same values to him, or how will you do that for your son? Because his wants will be very different from what your wants were, right? He's growing up in that environment. So how do you kind of ensure that he has a sane head on his shoulders?
I think it's really, if you were to ask me, one of the topmost priority on my list of things to do is to make sure he doesn't take stuff for granted, right? Because it is like people around him treat him a certain way, and I know that it's because of me. And so we're trying to, I think the biggest task for me is to help him discover something that he likes and loves to do. Because when you find something that you love to do, you will be more occupied with that versus trying to find that love, happiness by spending money, right? So one is that, and two is to find a way to have him be content, right? Because and I think like I've seen the traditional, not traditional, like the Infosys crowd, the Wipro crowd, doing an amazing job with their sons, because I know.
Yeah, Azim Premji and Narayan
Murthy
and Rishad, I think, had to spend like 15 years going through the paces before he could.
Even Mohandas Pai's sons, I mean, like I've interacted with them closely, and it's just quite crazy how grounded they are, and really, like every opportunity I get, I ask them, what did you do right? So, actually, Kian's joined Valley School where Nandan Nilekini's daughter was going, and
I think his son was teaching there also briefly.
So, I mean, I'm trying hard, but these things, you really have no control. I mean, you can do your best and hope the rest happens.
So, what do you do when you're not running Zerodha? I know you used to play basketball and I think cricket at some point. But you also play the guitar.
I do. I mean, I have varied interests. I love music. Kian plays the drums, so we both kind of jam up.
What kind of music?
Everything. From Kishore Kumar to Pink Floyd to to Beyonce. I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as the music's good, I'm listening to it. I love sports quite a bit. I love swimming. wife is a fitness enthusiast, so she gets me to wake up every day at 5:30 and work out. So, I'm quite busy in that sense, you know. And me and Nikhil also play, you know, table tennis and pool and, you know, badminton whenever there's an opportunity. So, I've like a varied interest, and I think those hobbies are really what helps me relax of sorts, you know, because
Also stay grounded?
I mean, not really grounded, but, you know, it's like for me, for winding, you know, if I'm stressed, I go play a sport, or I try to sweat it out, or, you know, play some guitar and sing for myself, you know. So I think you need to give yourself your time, you know. I mean, and this is something, you know, I've benefited significantly in my life, you know. So.
Right. So maybe we can end with you strumming the guitar and playing a small tune for us on air.
Yeah, I know. I'm now forced to do this, you know, but yeah. जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा वो हमनवा, न कोई है न कोई था जिंदगी में तुम्हारे सिवा, तुम देना साथ मेरा वो हमनवा। ओ चांदनी जब टकरा देता है हर कोई सा, तुम मगर अंधेरों में ना छोड़ना मेरा साथ। ओ चांदनी जब टकरा देता है हर कोई सा, तुम मगर अंधेरों में ना छोड़ना मेरा हाथ। जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा वो हमनवा, तुम देना साथ मेरा वो हमनवा।
That was lovely, Nithin. Thank you very much. Here's wishing you and Zerodha the best for everything going forward.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.